All right, folks, so I did my top 10 NFL offenses entering 2018 back on Friday morning. So now I'm going to do my top 10 defenses. I will count you down, and we've got the New England Patriots. And this may be a bit of a surprise. From an ability standpoint, I guess you could argue the Patriots are not a top 10 defense. But look at their scoring defense from 2017. They were 5th. Just ignore the pass defense, ignore the run defense. Because at the end of the day, it's how many points do you actually give up? That is the most important stat in my eyes. Scoring offense and scoring defense. And for the Patriots, they were top 10, heck, top 5 in scoring defense a year ago. They won't wow you in pass defense or rush defense categories, although I think the pass defense will be pretty darn good with McCourty there at corner now, Jason McCourty. And you got Stephon Gilmore on the other side, too, who I think is a very fine player. So I also like the addition of Adrian Claiborne. He brings some pass rushing ability. The Pats have been lacking for some time. And obviously, McCourty filling that void of Malcolm Butler, who, by the way, I think is an upgrade over Butler, McCourty is. So that's just my take on that. Danny Shelton comes to town from the Browns via a trade. Malcolm Brown's a good player on the interior as well. Oh, by the way, Dante Hightower is coming back as well, so that'll help things at the linebacking core. It'll be interesting to see how Duke Dawson finds a role in that secondary, drafted in the 2nd round there, and he can learn a couple good tidbits there from Stephon Gilmore and McCourty there. 2 fine players in their own right. I think Duke Dawson could learn a thing or two from them, so that's good stuff there. Be interesting to see how he pans out. The other question is, how does this Patriots defense regroup with Matt Patricia, their former defensive coordinator, no longer there? He's now the head coach of the Detroit Lions, as many of you probably know because of the recent allegations that have come out. So there is no DC for the Patriots right now. They chose not to name one. Brian Flores is assumed the defensive coordinator. How does that affect things on the defensive side going into 2018? I don't think too much. I think they got some fine players there. I think the Patriots will be a top 10 scoring defense yet again. Let's go to number 9 on my list. Watch out. I'm telling you, this team in general is going to be a force, but this defense is going to be fun to watch too. The Tennessee Titans added Malcolm Butler to that secondary that certainly needs help. Adoree Jackson had a nice rookie campaign, but he can't do it on his own. So now a couple of good corners there for Tennessee. Logan Ryan is there as well, another former Patriot, might I add. But that front 7 is what really sticks out for me. It's full of run stuffers and sackers. You got Jarrell Casey, Derek Morgan, Brian Orakpo, perhaps the future captain of that defense with Rashaan Evans, the linebacker there out of Alabama. And let's not forget Harold Landry add incredible value in that 2nd round there. So head coach Mike Vrabel, a former linebacker in his own right, has no excuse to not have a successful defensive season here because the pieces are all there. And oh, by the way, they signed Benny Logan, defensive tackle who walked into free agency and had a really slow market for like no reason at all. He's a good player, and now he's going to be a good depth guy for Tennessee. The Titans will be in playoff contention because they will control both sides of the line of scrimmage. I'm talking about the offensive line, I'm talking about the defensive line. So I like them as perhaps a sleeper team in 2018. Maybe not a full-fledged sleeper like maybe a Chicago Bears would be, but the Tennessee Titans are going to be a team to watch out for in the AFC South and in the NFL in general. Let me know what your sleeper team is entering the 2018 season. Give me a dark horse. Which team will come out of nowhere and make the playoffs? I think the Tennessee Titans will be a force, and I can't wait, and I can't believe I'm saying this, for Tennessee Titans versus Jacksonville Jaguars games in 2018. Can you believe that? I actually just said that, but those are 2 good teams. All right, let's go to number 8 on my list. Got the New Orleans Saints here as a top 10 defense. Coming off a really solid year. Perhaps you could say the unit overachieved a little bit, but 10th in scoring defense, that's pretty darn good for a team that has been in the dumpster in terms of rankings on the defensive side for many years. So why are they here? Marshawn Lattimore won the Defensive Rookie of the Year for a reason. He is going to be a shutdown corner for that franchise. Then you got slot corner Patrick Robinson coming to town from Philadelphia. Had a really good season, an elite season at cornerback if you're going by Pro Football Focus standards. Ken Crawley is there as well at corner. He had a good season. They re-signed Alex Okafor. That's very important. They made a move up for Marcus Davenport. That certainly has to pan out for the way in which they went up and grabbed him. A lot of people thought, well, that was a big-time reach. And then Cam Jordan is as good as they come at defensive end. Maybe it's because his name is Cam. I don't know. Just my theory. But you got the Saints that can rush the passer. You got good corners on the outside. They can beef up that run defense a little bit, and they were middle of the pack last year, not the worst in the world. They're going to be a team that can play good defense. And that is big for the Saints because then they can run the football more and rest Drew Brees and his arm a little bit more, throw the football more like 20, 25 times rather than 50. Saints are at number 8 here. Let's go to number 7 on my list. The Denver Broncos check in. All right, so for Denver here, and I'm pretty sure I saw my guy Melvin in the comments section. Yes, I did, and he's a Broncos fan. Hopefully he likes this. The Broncos went through a situation last year where the quarterback play was just putrid. And it was Paxton Lynch, and it was Brock Osweiler, and all of this, and it just did not work out. Trevor Siemian as well. And because the quarterback play was so bad, the defense was on the field for so long. And I don't care how talented you are, if you are playing a football game on the defensive side more than you should, you're going to get gassed, and you're going to give up points. And you're also going to have short fields because people like Trevor Siemian throw interceptions. And that's why you see the weird kind of discrepancy there of scoring rank to pass defense and run defense. You just saw it on your screen. They were top 10 in pass defense and run defense, but they were in the bottom of scoring defense ranks. So it was like, what happened? Here's what happened. The quarterback play sucked last year, quite frankly, and the defense was in short field situations here. So I like the Denver Broncos just fine. Von Miller, Bradley Chubb is there as well, by the way. They'll get after the quarterback very nicely. Domata Peko actually had a really nice little resurgence in 2017 too. So Denver's going to be a top 10 defense yet again. And if they just get a little bit better quarterback play from Case Keenum, could be top 5, even better. We'll see. All right, let's go to number 6 in my rankings. We will remain in the AFC West. The Los Angeles Chargers. So here's my reasoning behind the LA Chargers. There are 2 key components to playing effective modern-day defense. 1, pass rush. 2, cornerbacks. The Chargers have both. Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa are elite edge rushers coming off a fantastic 2017 season. Casey Hayward, Trevor Williams, Desmond King, Jason Verrett equate to maybe a top 3 cornerback group in the NFL. That is the formula you need to beat elite offenses and elite quarterbacks in the NFL these days. The Giants did it with Brady a couple of times, and the Seahawks did it with Manning a couple of years ago. The Chargers can do it again in the Super Bowl if they get there. They have the defense equipped to make that kind of production on the field. And the only issue with the Chargers is the ability to stop the run. The interior of that defensive line struggled. Brandon Mebane was not very good. Corey Liuget was just okay. 31st in run defense a year ago. They're going to have to improve upon that. But edge rushers, corners, heck, safeties too. It's all there. Chargers check in at number 6. Let's go to number 5 on my list, and we're going to talk about perhaps a sleeper playoff team, the Chicago Bears. So they're shaping up to be a pretty darn good defense. Prince Amukamara, Kyle Fuller at corner. Really important that the Bears kept Fuller, by the way. Eddie Jackson, Adrian Amos are fantastic safeties. The front 7 is going to be really interesting to watch. Roquan Smith, I think, is going to be a great linebacker for this team. Loved their selection of him in the NFL draft. Aaron Lynch provides some ability as well. Danny Trevathan, Leonard Floyd, I like them a lot too. Akeem Hicks is coming off a great season on that front line, ranking 14th among defensive linemen according to Pro Football Focus. You got defensive coordinator Vic Fangio there, who's a great coach in his own right, and he should have a field day with these players. There's a lot of talent on that defense. The Bears should be a top 10 D in 2018. Heck, they should be top 5 according to my rankings. But will they make the playoffs? And I want to hear from you in regards to that. Give me a heart for yes. Give me a like for no. The NFC North is kind of interesting. The Packers don't have the best roster in the world, but they do have Aaron Rodgers coming back. The Vikings are very solid across the board. The Lions have a new head coach dealing with some bad PR, shall we say. So maybe there's an opportunity there for Chicago to make some noise in the playoffs. Let's continue along in my top 10 defense rankings. We've got the Los Angeles Rams here at number 4. All I need to do is just list off all of these names. LaMarcus Joyner, Aqib Talib, Aaron Donald, Ndamukong Suh, Marcus Peters. These are household names that you guys know. The Rams could have the number 1 pass defense next season, and I firmly believe their core of secondary players is top 3 in my eyes. I don't see a weakness anywhere in that defensive backfield. So meanwhile, the front line is going to be disruptive. You have the interior of Donald and Ndamukong Suh. You got Michael Brockers coming off the edge there, who really didn't have a bad 2017 either. I do have my concerns about linebacker, but this is a top 5 defense easily, and Wade Phillips is a top 5 defensive coordinator as well. So you pair those two up, boom. You're going to have a really good team in 2018. All right, let's go to number 3 on my list, the Philadelphia Eagles, the champs. Speaking of disruptive front lines, the Eagles certainly have one of those. Michael Bennett, Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, bunch of players that can make some big-time noise. Brandon Graham as well. The Eagles should have no problem creating sacks in 2018. Now, typically, teams with good front lines have somewhat bad linebacking cores, at least mediocre at best. Not the case here with Philadelphia. Michael Kendricks, Jordan Hicks coming back from injury, Nigel Bradham, they're all really solid linebackers. So the front line is good. The linebackers are good too. I do have my concerns about that secondary. Jordan Mills I'm a little wary about. But here's the luxury of the Eagles. They don't have to blitz. Ever. Like, literally don't blitz at all. There's no reason to. You have an amazing front 4. Let them tee off. And then that, in turn, makes the secondary look better. You can have average cornerbacks and safeties in the back end if you can get after the quarterback, because what's the quarterback going to do when he's under pressure? I don't care if there's somebody streaking wide open down the field. Doesn't matter. Quarterback can't get there. So that's the logic with the Eagles. I think they're going to be a very fine defense in 2018. Will they repeat as Super Bowl champions? That's the question I want to be heard or answered from you. Hit me up on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. I'll tell you what, it's difficult to repeat. It's very difficult to fend off the, shall we say, complacency after winning a Super Bowl. I saw it with my Baltimore Ravens once before, especially Joe Flacco after he got that big-time contract. So I have suffered through it, Eagles fans. All right, let's go to number 2 on the list, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, they were Sacksonville for a reason last year. Calais Campbell played out of his mind. That guy had a fantastic season. Malik Jackson is in the prime of his career. Yannick Ngakoue from Maryland made a major jump in his sophomore campaign. The secondary is rich with Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boye, Barry Church, Tashawn Gibson. These are good players. Meanwhile, you got Telvin Smith, who had an out-of-nowhere elite campaign at linebacker, ranked 5th among qualifying LBs according to Pro Football Focus. The only weakness for the Jaguars is stopping the run, and first-round selection Taven Bryan should aid in that process of improving things on that front line there in terms of stopping the run. So we'll see what happens, but defense will be the reason why this team contends in the AFC South as well as for a Super Bowl. So I'll tell you what, Jacksonville Jaguars are trending upward, especially on that defensive side. The big question here, can Blake Bortles get it done? Can he make that throw in crunch time? And I could devote a whole hour to the study of Blake Bortles playing quarterback. But I won't do that to spare all of you. I'm getting to number 1 on my list now. The Minnesota Vikings, they are the number 1 defense heading into this 2018 NFL season. Secondary to defensive line, the best in the National Football League. Trey Waynes, Harrison Smith, even Andrew Sendejo had a great season in the back end. So Anthony Barr, yeah, he had an up-and-down career collectively, but he's solid to go along with Eric Kendricks there at linebacker. And then the Vikings have Sheldon Richardson on that front line with Linval Joseph, and Everson Griffin. So it's like, you tell me what the weakness is here with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, look at the stats on your screen. Number 1 in scoring last year. 2nd in pass defense last year. 2nd in run defense last year. So, like, if anybody has a problem with me putting the Vikings at number 1, I seriously want a 5-paragraph essay with a topic sentence and a thesis signed by you to explain why the Vikings do not deserve the number 1 ranking. Because I'll tell you what, I am firmly in belief that the Vikings should be at number 1. I am not going to budge anywhere from that. Maybe you can make the argument that the Patriots don't belong there. Maybe you could make the argument that the Cowboys should be inside the top 10. Whatever. You cannot make the argument that the Vikings belong any lower than number 1 in my rankings. That I can promise you. So real quick, let's summarize my top 10 defenses entering 2018. Minnesota at 1, Jacksonville at 2, you got Philly at 3, the Rams are there at number 4, Chicago Bears are at 5. Then 6 through 10, the Chargers, watch out for them, Denver Broncos, New Orleans Saints, Tennessee Titans are at number 9, a team that I think will really emerge, and then the New England Patriots there at number 10.